This is the EGC 20k Age of Empires 4 tournament. The semi-finals are on, only 4 generals still standing. Get yourselves ready for combat. To air revenue, my name's Anuki and this is the 4th match of a best of 5. Who is it between? Were you not paying attention? That's okay. I wasn't either. In the village where Little Red Riding Hood lives, on the north side of Altai, it's the commander of the English, Recon. Already grabbing a mill for some yummy deers. We don't need to gather a party before venturing forth. The south side of the map, their cotton and silks are blue for me and you. The leader goes by the name of TheViper. This is very interesting if we take a look at the short history between these two commanders. In round 1, it was Mongols versus Rus. Round 2, Rus versus Mongols. Round 3, English versus French. Round 4, French versus English. We might as well not play this one out because based on the pattern, Recon will win. So let's see if science is right or if we need to go back and revisit the drawing board and brainstorm what we should believe or put our faith in. There's a lot on the line. Usually we'd talk about the matchup in some detail, but we already did that last match. Instead, let's use the last match as intel for how this might play out as we just peruse the map and look around. The biggest deal is that they allowed a lot of walling up, so we might see some walls around here. This time it would be useful for Recon to do. It would stop the Viper's French Royal Cavalry from sneaking around the back there if they so choose to, and eliminating any kind of potential small raid works amazing miracles. So I do expect to see walls up. This map is Altai, by the way. It's a very pretty map. Our marketplace is in the corner. I think this has got to be one of the maps that is the easiest to trade on because of how you can just wall off your side of the map and have a long convoy going along the edges. Like I say, I fully expect Recon to want to break out the palisade walls, not just based on the matchup, but what they did last game. And I'm not sure if Viper will want to wall, but even if they did, it wouldn't be a huge wood investment just to lock the rear of their settlement. The gold mine position for Recon is all too perfect. It's on the far side, far away from Viper's grubby hands that they'll definitely want to try and get some heavy cavalry in there. The English won't be too dependent on that gold in the feudal age. They'll want food and wood for longbows and spears. But wood and food can be difficult to deny, so it becomes taking kind of what you can get and applying pressure. If you're the one that's doing the attacking, if Viper is the one that's doing the attacking and taking on the villagers at the gold, they reduce the chance that the enemy will attack, so you can build your economy up unhinged. Feel like it's been a while since we've seen a boar taken. These absolute buttes generate food super fast. And some maps, they are kind of in the middle of the action. However, places like Altai, right along the edge, out of sight, out of mind, not a route that is commonly traveled. I'd say, you know, kind of between the 10 and 20 minute mark. Obviously, at the start, people like to discover the map, and sort of 20 minutes after, that's when people might get a little bit of desperateness in them and try and find an alternative route inside their opponent's infrastructure. Well, we have the School of Cavalry and the Council Hall under construction. It's like a handshake. No one will strike before these buildings are made. Recon getting a small wall at the back. This still means that Viper could go around the mountain, though. Viper's scout on a mission of discovery. They'll probably spot this valuable bit of information. The wall has been moved. The city planning found a loophole and have made ratifications to ensure the utmost safety of their citizens, at least from northeasterly attacks. Oh dear. Oh, sheep. One of the sheep didn't quite make it past the wall in time. The feudal age has arrived. Vipers found their enemy's natural gold. Might feel a little frustrating to know that it's in such a nice place for Recon. You gotta ride all the way around the back, and I think it might even be troublesome to get there because of the town center's position between these two forest lines. I question if Viper will even attempt to strike here, or try something different, or maybe try to attack and then get disheartened. They do have a Royal Knight on their way now. We'll see where they go to. I mean, I can only think the gold is the only location they can go to. We do have actually a knight before that is here. And the town center is able to shoot them at that incredible distance. Longbow's also able to provide some support. It's almost like they don't even need a tower. They do need to get that villager back over the wall, though. That's gonna be a long trip for them. Viper can only approach from this angle now. Recon can devote all of their defenses into this one spot, and the mobility advantage that cavalry have is no longer an advantage. The fabulous thing about this, though, is Viper's gonna have to get creative, because I don't think more knights is going to cut it. Recon's got to attack back at some point, though. Ooh, I wonder if this is a little slippy nook here that you could walk through. If that's the case, always a nasty shock to uncover, and honestly, for the low cost of almost no wood at all, you can give your family peace of mind. You can't put a price on peace of mind, except we are, and it's low. Don't wake up to a villager morning fiesta. Call now. 2 knights, not enough knights. Will Viper try with 3 knights? What is the knight tipping point? I hope this won't be the game to find out. Chivalry upgrade complete. Viper is a very awkward landscape, but can still work with it. Maybe just walls around in these locations could be helpful, but Recon, I think Recon is pretty comfortable where they are at the moment. Forget the knight tipping point, the longbow tipping point is what we should be considering, because at a certain point you won't need all that many spearmen to act as a barrier for longbows to decimate knights. It's not just a matter of economy, it's a matter of cost effectiveness and training speed. More walls to funnel the knights closer to the town center. Loving it. Not all walls need to be complete, that's something to remember. It's purely about controlling movement. Getting the chess pieces in the places you want them, not just where you don't want them. Ooh, it's like watching the police roam in the lands with their partners. These 2 groups are teaming up for the bust of the century. They're gonna confiscate all of England's Ferrero Rocher. You knew! It's an irresistible taste experience. The beauty of gold, care, and infinity attention for quality ingredients. A full frontal assault undercover by daylight, completely outnumbered, outranged, and outgunned. Recon won't expect that. But somehow, by a complete stroke of luck, they've somehow managed to only just survive that relentless engagement. I think we'll probably be heading into the Castle Age on this one, and whilst Recon is sitting pretty in their settlement, so is Viper. They've got no stress. They've not had to wall yet. Honestly, they have the whole map to themselves. You know, if they wanted it. A second town center, stick it wherever you like. They've got some archers to accompany their knights. But archers against longbows, always struggling. I think maybe Viper expected to see some spearmen. We haven't got any quite yet. But it's still a safe bet that some spearmen will have to appear at some point, right? Viper having another bash at this with 1 extra knight who is unfashionably late. I think Viper is just keeping tabs on Recon, just reminding Recon to stay inside, close your doors, don't think about freedom or develop critical thinking skills. It's kind of like a curfew. That's what this is, just a big all-the-time curfew. Because unless Recon gets a gate, Viper knows the only way Recon is leaving to attack is through this area here. They're using houses to bolster the choke points into Recon settlement. I like that a lot. Watching horses try and squeeze through tiny gaps. It's a pleasant pastime. See Viper's scout heading back to the stealth forest. They might have sight of the first soldier wielding a spear. They could pass that word on to Commander Viper. Those archers back at the settlement may want to move into position and become an active component to the attack forces. The castle age is arriving. The guild hall is Viper's choice of landmark. The scout has been discovered and removed from their position. Yes, it seems Recon is tired of being tested. The scout is hungering for information. Information that will prove useful to their 20-ish archers and a few spearmen. The scout goes down, and Viper's scout returns to their watch post. But what are they gonna do about this attack? Their heavy cavalry is over here. It looks to me like they're going to strike the rallied soldiers, perhaps forcing Recon to pull their main force back to defend this. Classic divide and conquer, the perfect strategy when the enemy outnumbers you. Recon sending the few remaining forces they have to rally with the main force, working on a battering ram as well, still are. Some will work, others will fight. The spears start poking and Viper retreats, losing a knight. The settlement is wide open, but you see here our blue swords and shiny shields. Get a load more of these and Recon's archers will be miserable. For now though, Recon doesn't know about it. Viper could have the element of surprise. A kiteable element of surprise, but a surprise nonetheless. The more Recon invests into longbows, the stronger those men-at-arms would become. There's still those knights out there that could slam into the back, but they're only 5. Not enough to really slow down Recon's retreat. The School of Cavalry getting a rogering. Classic English saying. This would be the path the main garrison takes. It'd be cool if there were more knights so we could see a royal flank maneuver. Recon, though, has planted some stakes behind them. They've considered that possibility. Have they considered the possibility of Mangonel arriving? Ooh. What's happening with those knights? I think Viper is just playing Tormentor and stopping this assault from getting any bigger. Viper moving out. The first shot is the most important. That's not a great hit. Out of 10, I'd probably give that a 5. Recon begins their kiting maneuver. The swords and shields can shrug off all of those arrows. Recon splitting their longbows. Now, if they chose to split that up because of the Mangonel, then not necessary. That Mangonel doesn't have NOS on it. Viper's tiny group of archers taking any shots they can. Recon's army goes through the stealth forest, a really good retreat path. And the disengagement is done, and the re-engagement for the Viper. Wow, just look at everything they managed to hold back with those knights. They've accomplished so much, killing so little. On the other hand, though, some of Viper's soldiers throwing away their lives. Their job was to chew bubblegum and pump blood around the body. And they're all out of blood. Not sure if they were paid to bravely expose themselves like that, so that Viper's ground troops could enter the wood line. They do disrupt a lot of Recon's villagers. But there's no doubt in my mind that the soldiers won't be able to accomplish any more than that. This is certainly escalating. A healthy amount of men at arms will return for future duties. Ooh, Viper's commissioned a counterweight trebuchet. That's sick. I haven't seen one of these since I was living in the 1180s. That's what we call them. The trebuchet, as you can tell by the name, invented in France. So this battle remains historically entirely accurate. One villager takes a mangonel load of rocks, and now there are no villagers on the berries. Just like the nursery rhyme. It's a lot of soldiers for Recon, but they aren't in the castle age just yet. The White Tower will augment their primary town center. Here we are, it is complete. Recon, though, will perhaps want to upgrade their troops with the latest gear before attacking. That buys time for Viper to reinforce this small force. Is the Viper that interested in the wall? No, they are not. I didn't think they would be. Let's talk about this White Tower, because... Now, as usual, I don't like to talk about what players should be doing. I like to talk about why players do what they do. I think Recon was panicking a bit, because normally you would make a defensive building and put it somewhere where you want to defend, obviously. But you'd probably stick that, like, over at some other gold or gathering spot or a strategic location, because the primary town center is already defended. Putting it next to that town center sort of gives the impression that they needed it here fast to stave off Viper's attack. Recon now knows that the Viper has that trebuchet, and the White Tower could be the thing that the trebuchet ends up focusing on for a while. I can't say whether that's a good or bad thing, but it depends on what Recon does in that time. Viper's now getting some walls up. Just as a contingency, they could begin some trading from the corners. There's another wood wall on the left, and a wolf goes down. First wolf death of the game? In any case, taking out these houses, that's an easy, like 1,000 woods worth of damage there, minus the cost of spending time to rebuild those houses. They break so quickly. 3 more houses and Recon is population capped. Spring elves are the solution. And another problem for Recon is real estate. Do they have enough room for farms? And having to rebuild houses is wood for farms. The English, though, they don't need as much wood for farming as other civilizations. It only costs 37 wood instead of 75. It's 50% off down at Al's Grainatorium. 100% real English grain. Don't ask what it contains. For your 50% off, use the code I regret everything. Prepare for thrash metal, and I don't mean the music. Interesting that Viper's added spears into the mix. There are a few English knights, but what are the chances they'll be hitting the right target? Breathe in those sounds of battle. The longbows, scared of the scattershotting mangonels. Is one of them going to try and run over some soldiers? No, of course not. Recon's divided their archers into smaller groups. Still, the cost of life is great. Viper's armored troops are persevering, whilst Recon's remnants are mostly archers. Viper's still left with their siege equipment intact. So they could begin firing at buildings, but what buildings? The council hall? Do they really need to? I mean, it's still quite alright to just laser around outside and deny resources. Is Recon hungry yet? They have 3 farms. 3 is not much to feed what they need. They are selling wood and buying food. Excellent trade skills. But how much will that get them? I don't think it will quite be enough. Viper, economically unharmed. They can grow and are growing, all while still sending soldiers to the front lines. The list of issues to overcome keep piling up for Recon as we enter the 20-minute mark. They have managed to assemble many knights. I wonder if they might try to ride into Viper's base. They've got farms up, a stream of troops and siege equipment still moving. Second town center next to the stone and berries, why not? And they've discovered an outpost next to some gold in the north. Simply just gonna burn that one down. The knights riding in from behind. They are a good match for men-at-arms, but there's spears mixed in. I think 2 spears. Lovely fight for Recon. Longbows on the hills shooting down. Truly a cinematic experience. 2 red spring elves. That's important for Viper to know about. I guess these knights are instead going to be used for hitting siege equipment on their flank. Ooh, there's still a few men-at-arms just attacking the villagers. That's disruptive. Oh, and a 4th spring elf for Recon. Crumples. Viper getting in a sneaky shot there. Crazy knight, crazy cheeky knight displays their backside to the enemy. I too like danger. The trebuchet is back with a trebuchet friend. I think it'd be cool if Viper used this stealth forest just to hide a surprise. I'm amazed to see that Reconers managed to maintain some semblance of an economy. Look at this army. 3 people on food. There's, I suppose, some sneaky gold mining going on down here. And, oh, they're using wood too, but noticing this wood is almost depleted. That's one of these problems we talk about happening. If Viper notices this, Recon's got to pick up their quill and ink another problem to the list. Oh yeah, they've noticed. Call in the mercenary army. The English knights respond to their subjects' cries for protection. And the White Tower getting some use, which I'm sure Recon is pleased to see. Oh, I see a building. Is there a castle here? Or doth mine own eyes deceiveth me? 'Twas truth I speaketh of yond castle upon th' hill. What a mighty fortification to assist in sieging, protecting all of the royal French troops and their wacky, never-before-seen contraptions. Imagine seeing a trebuchet for the first time. You wouldn't think this weaponized swing ball appliance would do that much damage, but wow, does it slam hard and at range. Viper pressuring with a couple of knights. I'm sure no one's really going to miss the lumber mill. Are we seeing mobilization on the right? A smaller division of melee fighters to poke and prod the English villagers away from the duties of gold mining. Recon has a few more farms, but I still think it's under 10 villagers on food. And they see this attack and try main engagement, fighting whilst the main force is smaller and split up. Can their spring elves hit their mark? Aiming for the anti-siege first. Left with a 2 spring elf net positive now for the mangonels. This is going well for Recon, but I'm hesitant to say well enough. Already Viper bringing in more soldiers to drive back Recon into their settlement. The White Tower finding functionality again. Blue soldiers forget their training and become nothing more than simple hooligans in the streets. The council hall was lost moments ago to the trebuchet. Viper's got to replenish most of their army. They've got about 30 troops here or on their way. Using Knights still to harass Recon off of that northern gold. Recon will respond. If we look at the income per minute, Recon is almost half of everything and no stone. It's integral that Recon releases themselves from Viper's grip soon to obtain more worldly resources because, and I feel like we've been here before, Recon can only win so many battles before they start, not having a base anymore. Whereas Viper can lose as many times as they like because they just keep bringing a new army to chip away at Recon. So it really doesn't matter what happens to these Knights. Viper lobbing rocks at the White Tower as they pass by. These Knights are all expendable. Being in a position where your units are expendable is glorious. Recon's new foodie farms are being affected. They've got parasites, and now there are Knights killing the workers. They won't be turning a profit today. The English Knights riding around. There's 4 French Knights remaining, charging towards the other mill. Vipers being very precise with these targets. They know Recon must be hungry, and any damage done to food production would be a catastrophe. More Knights tasked with the gold mine again. English Knights to respond again. They are constantly having to chase, and they can't chase far because of these castles. Recon's Spring Elves just off to the side, taking shots. They can't get in a range of the trebuchets. The White Tower's been destroyed. Those trebuchets have been non-stop swinging and dinging. Vipers even moved up some production here, some siege factories, a stables, a monastery next to the sacred site. Maybe they'll lay claim to the 3 sacred sites on the map. And what a siege this is. One that perhaps should go in my new history book that I'm writing. It's called History. What you don't know won't kill you. French Knights repeating a previous attack. There's a 3rd castle looking over the region. The streets look entirely empty, an eerie soundscape. It's a spooky ghost town, that's what this is. But our 6 mighty Knight Rangers aren't afraid. But what's this? Recon is moving in with Knights of their own. Is this too little too late? There's plenty of little cubby holes for the villagers to hide in. Recon has created a little bit of chaos down here. Food has been disrupted, but I think Viper's got all the army they need. This is just a holiday for Viper's peasants. And since Recon's Knights are down here, there's less to defend with up here. So Viper's just going to strike back. The gold miners are again targeted. Oh, hold on a moment. Recon's rolling in with spring outs from the side. They aren't set up though. Viper's free firing. Wait, what's going on? Return fire! Return fire, damn you! Oh, lordy lord! Well, the English Knights are burning away at the spring elms once their peasants are terminated. I think Recon might have reached their limit. Exhaustion has arrived, and the white flag is raised. England has been defeated. The Viper is victorious. Science has failed us. The pattern was broken. This means the Viper moves on to the finals. You heard me, the finals. This was a great match and overall a nice set. I forgot to mention, do check in with the EGC. They are the hosts of this 20K tournament. And if you have enjoyed seeing this whole tournament broadcasted so far on Ironcast, then do what you have to do to ensure you can always see more. And pop down to our Discord. All the information is somewhere online, probably in a video description. For now, though, there's more work for me to do. Join me for the next match. My name's Anuki. I'll see you soon.